Going back before that last fight, though, when Dana said that the winner was going to get a title shot, kind of what went through your head when you heard that?
It didn't really change too much. It just obviously that night it kept me up a little bit. But I was really focused and just everything was going really good in my training, and I wasn't even really thinking about the title shot. I was just thinking about winning that fight, and I knew the rest would kind of take care of itself. If I had a good performance, I knew there was definitely no one really chomping at the bit for the title. With Anthony Pettis going down and Frankie Edgar, it was up for the grabs, and just got to be impressive. And my goal was just to go out there and win, and if I could make it impressive, that'd be like a little bonus.
Well, and you talked about making it impressive. I noticed you were kind of egging him on a bit, like you'd take a shot and you'd throw him the hands, like bring it, and that I hadn't seen that from you before.
Yeah, I just I felt like it was just pretty into the fight. I wanted to fight that night, and I don't know, man. You get hit, and then you're trying to be Mr. Macho Man, and you want to Macho Man. Yeah, you want the guy to you took his best shot. You wanted him to, kind of bring it again. It was kind of the second time I did it might not have been the smartest decision, but both my ears were ringing at the time. Didn't hear too much, but then I just kind of heard my coach kind of say something. I can't remember what he said, but just be smart because you guys have power. You got to avoid it. And I realized going into the fight that I'd have to take a couple good ones, but I just felt like I'd fight him at like an uncomfortable pace and an uncomfortable distance for him. And I mean, it felt like after the first minute, I felt like I was just taking control.
And I read that you said you didn't want to go to the ground with him, which I found surprising because your ground game has been really good lately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if how I exactly said that, but it made it sound like I didn't want. I'm not worried about going to the ground with him, but at the same time, he's a stud wrestler, and it's not easy to take him to the ground. And I could really have, get into a battle where he gets on top and grinds out a round or two, and I guess that was my goal, to not get taken down. But again, we hit the ground. I'm more than comfortable, you know what I mean? I've considered myself like a ground guy first, but, I've been seeming to want to knock everyone out lately. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with just at the UFC level. Everybody's just a really, really good grappler, but more so than that, guys, they don't play the game. They don't play on the ground. They don't want a jiu-jitsu match. They just want to, either if you take them down, they want to get up. They want to use the cage to stand up. And, if they take you down, they're happy to try to hold you down and just grind. And I mean, you can lose rounds like that. It's not exciting, but you lose rounds. And I feel like I'm a well-rounded fighter, but I just do whatever I need to do to win.
Yeah, everybody's using that kind of GSP mentality. He's kind of found that way to get you on the ground and just grind you out down there, and it seems like everybody's trying to copy that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he does it extremely well. He's a great wrestler, but he's also got really good jiu-jitsu. And I know that there's going to be times where I'm going to have to use my ground to win fights, and there's going to be times I'm going to have to use everything. And that's really my goal, is just to be prepared for anything in a fight, because I could have all these plans, but then everything can go out the window in the first minute. Something bad can happen, and you're in a bad spot. So I mean, you got to be comfortable in all positions. You got to be proficient. You can't just be like a guy that hits the ground and goes, I just want to know how to get up. Well, that's not going to help you, because eventually there's going to be somebody who's going to hold you down. And so again, I always try to just be as well-rounded as possible.
Now, this was your second knockout of the night, so a nice $50K bonus for you. But you got this one thanks to Mike Tyson. So how much did you have to kick back to Iron Mike?
I didn't have to kick back none, man. It was pretty wicked, really, to get hooked up like that. I felt like my knockout was different, but equally as impressive as the one Junior had. They're two different knockouts, and it was pretty cool though to have Mike Tyson go to bat for you, and it's still that part hasn't really sunk in.
Well, I was amazed watching the event how much all the UFC guys were marking out to Mike Tyson. They were so excited that he was there.
Yeah, when I was sitting there at the weigh-ins, we all finished cutting weight and stuff. We were just ready to make it official. And I remember reading earlier on that Dana said that he would be coming to the weigh-ins with Mike Tyson. I read that on Twitter, and then he's like, he should be around all weekend. And when he first walked in, I was kind of like talking to my coach. I was like, man, we should go meet him. And I was like, you know what, let's just wait, And sure enough, he was on the stage, got to shake his hand at the weigh-ins. And, he's a big fan of the sport. And, he brought a passion, to the weigh-ins too. When that Khabib guy shoved that other dude, you could see Tyson's reaction in the background. He started like fist pumping, so it was pretty funny.
Well, like once a fighter, always a fighter, right? So Mike probably just gets geared up too.
Exactly.
So next up for you, light heavyweight championship match against Benson Henderson. When you look at his tape now, what do you see?
I haven't really looked at his tape yet. I'm just I get a week, man. I give myself a week no matter what, just to kind of not think about fighting. I mean, I've actually trained twice this week already, but I always like to just relax and just let your mind relax. But I've seen Benson fight before. I know he does a lot of good things. Now it's got to find the things that he doesn't do so well, and just see what that's going to be. But he's a very complete fighter, and he's the champ, and he's beat some very good guys, and he's a great competitor. So going into the fight, I don't really, we'll come up with a plan, but as of right now, we're trying to find out the date when it's going to happen, and as soon as I start really training, it's going to be Benson Henderson all the time.
Dana had said it might happen in Boston in August, and that seems to me like a quick turnaround. Is that too soon, do you think, or would you like it to be in Boston?
It's kind of a quick turnaround, but I'm healthy, and I guess it would be kind of good just to get right back in because I'm in really good shape right now too. But I don't know. I mean, I want to fight in Toronto in September just because the date is so good.
Yeah.
September 21st would be perfect. I could, I just had a baby girl last month. So I can have a couple weekends to spend there. But man, once I start training for a fight, it's you're right back in the grind. But Boston's one of those cities that I absolutely like. No offense to Toronto because I love Toronto. I had a great time fighting there. But I just would like something like I think Boston would just be a cool city to fight in. And I know a lot of Maritimers would drive down. But either way, I think I'd have the support. Fan support would definitely be, incredible.
Yeah, I think either way. But you're right. The Boston is probably as close to home as you're going to be able to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I wouldn't complain about either one. I like the date of Toronto, and I like obviously fighting in Canada. But I think it'd be cool just to fight in Boston. I like going to new cities too, and getting to kind of take them in. Enjoy it.
Yeah, and Boston's a great, great town. Now, I didn't know you just had a little baby, so that's probably cutting into your game playing time.
Yeah, you know what? I retired the PlayStation. I got rid of the Xbox because it was a POS. It broke on me 10 times. But, I was playing Call of Duty and stuff, and then I realized that, I needed to stop. It was just, it made me totally unproductive as a human being. And, so I started... I just basically shut it off, and I barely ever turn it on. It's just collecting dust, man.
Well, if you get into the next UFC game, though, you're going to have to buy that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely buy it. It's safe to say that I'm going to get in the next game,
I'm looking forward to kicking your ass in a video game.
You probably will, man, because I can't handle that game. It's just people take me down and fucking curl the stick, and they submit me. It's no, man, you're in my guard. You're not passing my guard, bro. That's the way I treat it, and I get mad, and then it's kind of like when I play Fight Night. I used to really like Fight Night. That was a good game, too, but I just can't handle losing, though, in fighting, man.
It's got to be hard because you're losing to a guy that in no way would ever be able to do any of it to you.
Exactly. They're controlling it with their thumbs. It's not fair.
Now, the one thing I wanted to ask you, too, was it a bit of a bummer? I mean, the Mooseheads win the Memorial Cup on the same weekend that you win your big fight and get the title shot, and they took some of your press, man.
Yeah, it's only fitting, man. That's my story. You know what I mean? I'm always living in the shadows. No, you know what? To me, it doesn't really matter. It's good to see them win. And, I guess maybe I didn't get the press that maybe, some people think I should have got, but in the end, I don't really do it for that anyways. And, I've liked kind of flying under the radar. I don't know if it's going to happen anymore. So, it's all good, and, I'm happy for those guys.
One last thing. Is there a guy in the UFC locker room that has a little annoying habit that you don't want to sit next to him?
I guess Rick Story put a bunch of pictures of his opponent, all through our dressing room and on the way out and stuff, all over the wall. His coach did it. That was kind of annoying. But other than that, everybody's cool, man.
That's cool, man. And I'm really, really happy for you, man. Glad to hear about the family growing and of course, the title shot. And if you need a useless radio DJ in your corner at the fight, I'm your man.
Yeah, I'll think about it, man. I could use you. be like what's him call it? Paul Heyman. He's like Paul Heyman.
Exactly. Listen, although I've dropped a bit of weight, so I'm not quite as walrus-like as Paul.
Jimmy Hart.
I'll bring a megaphone.
That's cool, man. I like it.
Come on, TJ, you can get him, baby.